So thank you so much, Dave. Thank you for being here. Ascending Tribe, we're working with you on November the 16th on Marylebone Road. We have an event and we're going to be speaking about Adam. We're going to let you speak about Adam. And a lot of people don't really know the origins of the story, or they've just got their own kind of, version of it. So maybe we can kind of discuss, without giving away too much, why this is an important conversation to be had right now on the planet.
Well, it's because we're engaged in Adam's journey. So the biblical Adam. Let me step back a second. There are two ways to learn and grow. Okay, there's only two ways. You either are immortal, in which case you just continue learning and growing, or in lieu of that, you can either sorry, I've still got a frog in my throat. Yeah, you can either be immortal or you can propagate with children, in which case what is actually happening is that you are projecting yourself into the future via your children. So your children are actually just pushing yourself forward into the future after you die. Yeah. So essentially, the humans that are here, and in the talk, I'm going to perhaps introduce the idea that there are 5 different types of beings here. The humans that are here are actually Adam. Various, Adam's kind of split into various aspects of his psyche, right, to explore this idea of existence.
Are you saying to be mortal means then to not have children because it stops with that review there?
No, to be immortal.
Immortal is to have children.
No, it means to always live, so you don't have children. Okay. So Adam was created to be immortal. You might find that actually in the current Old Testament, but when you add in a set of books called the Apocrypha, it actually says in the Wisdom of Solomon that Adam was created immortal in the image of the Most High. But through the envy of the devil, as it says, death came into the world. So he was created immortal. That immortality was taken away from him. And so plan B was that Adam would sort of project himself into the future via his children.
So maybe I could give you my very basic understanding of Adam, the story of Eve, and a character I've only just been introduced to called Lilith as well. Now, I don't know if that's something that you'd be resonating with, but maybe I could just give you the blueprint of what I know, because I only found out recently by having a discussion with someone that Lilith was a character that was independent of Adam, where Eve was actually made from the ribs of Adam. And Eve was made so that she would be more submissive to Adam, where Lilith was too sexually strong and empowered. I don't know if there's any truth in that, or if you've come across that in your research. This character Lilith.
I've come across this character, but I believe it's Jewish mysticism. Yeah, it's not part of the story. It was made up story. The Lilith character is said to be a Nephilim. Yeah, a demon, fallen angel style. So, but as far as connection with Adam, no, I think that story is Jewish mysticism. Now, okay, so I'll tell you what I see of it, how I see the Bible actually unfolding.
Yeah.
So I think the Old Testament doesn't cover the whole history of Earth. I think there's between the first verse and the second verse, there is an undeterminate, amount of time that goes by. So, first line is in the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth, full stop.
Yeah.
When you translate the next line, I think more accurately, it says, but the earth had become ruinous and empty. So it kind of indicates that earth was created, stuff happened,
yeah.
and the earth became ruinous and empty. right? So the only other time that the words ruinous and empty are used together is in Jeremiah, right? Now, if you know how the language works, if you get a phrase, two words, three words used together more than once, it's referring to the same event or something very, very, very similar. Yeah. So very precise language. So in Jeremiah, it says that the Most High destroyed everything, everyone and everything, because of his furious anger, because the world had turned wicked.
Yeah.
And he said even the cities were broken down. Like, hang on a second, what cities? You know, at that time there were no cities. So essentially, I think that's what happens between, you know, the first line of Genesis and the second line. Yeah, the Most High, there was a civilization. The Most High just wiped it out and started again. And sure enough, when you look around the world, you see not only a pyramid culture that predates our civilization, but you also find, when we're finding recently, what people call Tartaria, where we've got buildings that were built, you know, way before us and built with technology that we can't match. Anyway,
and the mud flood and kind of like this reset, the idea that there was a major reset and everything kind of had to start afresh from that moment.
Well, I would say this calamity where Most High wiped everything out would be the first reset. I would say that the flood, biblical flood, was the second. Now, it's possible that those two events overlap. Right, the what we call the mud flood was the flood. But you know, that's speculation. So yeah, there was a previous civilization, and here's my speculative bit. I believe that civilization was governed by an angel. Okay, so an angel was governing that civilization, and it fell into wickedness. Most High destroyed it all. So when he, you know, recreated the earth, sort of, you know, rebooted the earth, this time he tried something different. This time he created Adam as his offspring, yeah, his son, as it were, right, in his image and likeness. You know, not that the Most High has a physical, you know, human body. I believe the likeness is his mind, his creative ability. Yeah. So he created Adam to be the immortal governor of earth instead of the angel. And the angel didn't like it. You know, all the angels were told to worship Adam as they worship the Most High. And this angel, who was the previous governor, said, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not bowing down to this mud man you've created. You know, I was here first. I'm more powerful than him. You know." So he started a rebellion. And so that's essentially, this rebellion is the beginning of this war between the angels and humanity. And
are these angels benevolent, or like the Nephilim style angels, the kind of scary overlord angels, the fallen angels?
Right. Well, the fallen angels were a special type of angel. They were called the Watchers, and they equate to what we call planets. Yeah, because all the stars are angels according to the cosmology of the Book of Enoch. So all the stars are angels, but there are certain angels that are tasked to watch over us, and you know, so they move differently to all the other angels who will move around in a circle around us. And they were the ones who fell and started mating with humanity. So the first attack on Adam was the story in the garden. Yeah. So again, Adam is immortal. Eve is immortal as well. So it wasn't a talking snake. It was an angel who came down and seduced Eve. Eve didn't know about sex. And so the angel had sex with Eve, took away her immortality. Makes sense, because you know, you're either immortal or you have children. You can't have both, or else you're going to populate the whole world of immortal beings, and it ain't going to work. So as soon as she had sex, she lost her immortality. She went and showed Adam what to do. He lost his immortality.
Who do they claim that Eve had sex with? The snake?
the angel.
The angel. Okay.
The book of Enoch actually tells you the name of the angel. It says his name was Gadriel or Gadriel or Gadriel. And yeah, he led Eve astray. That's how it's worded in the book of Enoch.
Wow.
And so that was the first attack. Adam's immortality gone. So plan B is going to be his children, right? So the second attack was the Genesis 6:4, where 200 fallen angels came down and started having sex with women in order to try and destroy Adam's bloodline.
Wow.
Right? And he nearly succeeded. They nearly succeeded. Everyone on earth had been corrupted by this fallen angel bloodline, this Nephilim bloodline, and only Noah survived. Not survived. He was the only one that wasn't tainted.
Yeah.
But Noah's wife was.
I said Noah stayed on the narrow path. He wasn't tainted, sold out.
Right. So Noah's wife was tainted. So Noah's children were tainted.
Wow.
And a week before the flood, Noah had to find wives for his 3 sons. So the only women that were available were tainted ones. So the Nephilim DNA got the other side of the flood through the DNA of the children.
Noah's children. Yeah.
So post-flood Genesis was the most high, basically sifting the bloodlines. He's saying, okay, out of Noah's 3 sons, Shem is the chosen one.
Yes.
His blood is the closest to Adam's. So then Shem had 5 children, and Arphaxad was chosen out of the 5, and so on and so on. And every now and again there'd be a chosen one, and that would, one of them was Abraham.
Yes.
Okay, chosen one. He was told to marry his half sister, right? Again, to keep the blood, to cleaning the blood. But Sarah was barren, and so Sarah gave Abraham her handmaid, who was Egyptian, right? But she wasn't part of the bloodline. So the firstborn, Ishmael, wasn't chosen because he was the wrong bloodline.
Yeah.
Eventually, Sarah had a child, and that was Isaac. Now he was a chosen one because right bloodline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it came down to Isaac's 2 twin boys. Right, so Isaac had 2 twin boys. Now something new happened. All the fallen angel DNA got concentrated in the firstborn, Esau. So Esau was wicked, warlike, cunning, evil, that sort of thing. Yeah. And in Jacob, all the fallen angel DNA was gone. He was now back to Adam.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that has set up the war that we're currently in. So Esau versus Jacob. So Esau represents the fallen angels. Jacob represents the Most High. And essentially that's the war that's been raging for thousands of years.
So it's all about the purification of it's all about the blood, basically. And
it's always been about the blood.
It's always been about the blood. And it's like they're trying to bring it back. Well, it's a pure blood, but it's like trying to infiltrate that all the time as much as possible with this Nephilim energy. Yes.
Now this story is kind of the sideline to what I'm talking about, because yes, it's, we are on Adam's journey. We're continuing Adam's journey. Right? If you think about it, have you got children?
I don't personally know.
Right. If you were to have a son, right, that would be you. Okay, starting off again, from where you are now.
Extension.
Right? And what you would do is you would pass on all your knowledge to your son.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to start where you started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he could. It's like passing the baton onto your son, and he can carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's who we are, and the journey that we're on is what you would call the hero's journey. So think about the story. So Adam was in the most perfect place ever. He was in the Garden of Eden. Right? All his needs were met. Anything he wanted to have happen would happen for him. Yeah, he was a co-creator. Any experience he wanted to have, he could have it. Yeah. But when you're born into a place like that, you don't appreciate it. You don't know it. It's like when I was in St. Lucia, I was in St. Lucia and I went to this little town and it had a beautiful beach. This beautiful beach between two cliffs, and there's this lovely beach, but it was covered in litter. Literally, it was literally just caked with about that high of litter. People just chucking stuff over there.
Yeah.
Because they don't know they live in paradise. Right? In order for them to understand where they live, they would have to come over to this country, right? Maybe realize that the streets aren't paved with gold, maybe live on the streets homeless for a while, and then find their way back to St. Lucia. And when they get there, they'll be like, wow, this is paradise. Why did I leave in the first place? So that's it. That's what happened to Adam. He got cast out of the Garden of Eden, and he's been on this journey downwards into the depths of evil. And I think we're just starting that climb out of it.
So are we aspects of Adam then, even more than we're aspects of Christ? Because it seems like Adam's even more poignant and important.
Absolutely, because
this is mind-blowing.
First of all, I'm afraid this character that you called Christ doesn't exist. He was made up by the Romans.
I agree.
I know there's a lot of people who
they say there was about 5 different Jesuses potentially, or like characters that they've kind of molded into this one, person. In my opinion, it's a fairy tale. Respectfully, it's the actual story of Christ. It's so watered down.
Yeah, the stories were replicated throughout history. Tammuz and Krishna and
It's the same archetype, isn't it? It's this like they have like a divine revelation. They kind of like resurrect again or something, and it's the same character in all these mythologies again and again.
It's paganism. That's what it is. It's a pagan religion based on, again, fallen angels and Nephilim.
Yeah,
I know that annoys a lot of people because they're really into this story. But
if that's the case, then like, how are you interpreting the Bible? If it's, do you know what I mean? Like, are you reading what version of the Bible do you personally study, and then what language do you study it in?
Right. Well, I grew up English, so I can only learn it in English. But there is no good translation of the Old Testament, right? Because they're all translations in Western languages of a book that is in a language that is completely different, totally different, works completely differently. A lot of people have seen this little example, but do you want me to give you that little example?
Please, yeah.
The difference. Okay. I'm going to describe a film to you in English, right?
Okay.
And you have to guess what the film is.
Okay.
Right? A man on the autistic spectrum recounts his life to strangers. What's the film?
I was going to say Forrest Gump, but that's definitely not the one. Good Will Hunting.
Sorry?
Good Will Hunting.
Okay, so 2 guesses there. Forrest Gump and Good Will Hunting, right? Yeah. Now, I'm not going to tell you if you're right or not, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the same film in Paleo-Hebrew, which is a language that the Old Testament was written in, okay?
Yeah.
So Paleo-Hebrew was a language of pictures, little pictograms that mean something, right? Yeah. So I'm going to use emojis, right? So, I didn't explain what happened in your mind, right? So what happened in your mind when you heard me, describe the film, in the left-hand side of your brain, you listened to the sounds I was making. You fetched the meanings of the words, right? You heard from, your memory of the words you were taught at school, and all the meanings that you were taught of those words. And then you compared that list of meanings to a list of films you'd seen, and you guessed at Forrest Gump and Good Will Hunting. Yeah. So I'm going to give you the Paleo-Hebrew version now. Okay. Man running, a few trees, a park bench, a box of chocolates, a shrimp, and a boat. What's the film?
I might know the film, but I know it's a whole different vision in my head. It's completely different the way I'm trying to see it in my brain.
Yeah. So think about it again. Yeah, man running,
Yeah,
a few trees,
yeah.
yeah, a park bench, a box of chocolates,
Mhm.
a shrimp, and a boat.
A shrimp in a boat. And this is a really well-known film.
Yeah. Anybody watching is probably going, yes,
Like,
this
that's
one is
right. Like some kind of Pretty Woman film or something like that. Like,
okay. Let me just give you the clue. Yeah, you've one of your guesses was right.
wow. Good Will Hunting.
Okay, well that failed, didn't it? Well,
Forrest Gump.
think about Forrest Gump. Yeah, man running, run, Forrest, run,
Yeah, yeah,
Forrest,
yeah,
few trees, a park bench with
yeah,
a box of chocolates. Life is like a box of chocolates.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he went to be a shrimp boat captain. Yeah, so most people when I get to park bench
They know
and
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
box of chocolates, the smile comes up and they know it.
I
Right,
can't
but
say that I'm a big Tom Hanks fan, but I get it. I was there. Like, you know what it was? It was the word autistic. That was like something just went straight to like it felt like a catalogue of where do I have autistic characters, and I had to make that guess.
right, because you had the word, you had the meaning of that word,
Yeah,
and you're looking for films with autistic people.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
most people usually get Rain Man. They go to Rain Man first.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But so what happened there, or what should have happened there, is that the left hand side of your brain couldn't be involved because it can't analyze pictures. It knows language, can't analyze pictures. So
Yeah,
your left hand side of your brain was silent.
yeah, yeah. It was.
Your right hand brain, you were imaging the pictures.
Mm,
And again, most people start imaging the pictures and they know it's Forrest Gump.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right? It just there's no guesswork. That set of pictures can't mean Rain Man. It can't mean Good Will Hunting or any of the other films people have guessed.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it didn't have to be spelled because it could have been in any order. People would have got it. So that's a shame that didn't work for
Yeah, but I get it. And that's so. What you're saying is, when it comes to the Hebrew language, it was these. It's a whole different way of interpreting the message. Your
Yes.
brain receives it in a completely different way to like left brain words and facts and data.
Yes. So
Oh,
so that's what I'm saying. The translations that we're playing with, in English or Greek or Latin or whatever, they're a completely different way of understanding language. So you can't directly translate them.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, as I said, the Adam story himself is only a tangential part of it. Only I mention him because we are actually on his journey,
yeah, yeah,
and as I said, that journey is the hero's journey where he will eventually go back to Eden, knowing the place for the first time because of the journey, right? And that journey is also a microcosm of the macrocosm, which is the Most High's journey, right? And yeah, I'll get into that in the talk, but yeah, this because we're Adam, we still have that ability to shape the world around us any way that we want to.
In the
And
same way that so how Adam was a co-creator in the Garden of Eden, and he anything he wanted he could co-create. We have that ability still,
yep,
even with the Nephilim blood and within us.
yeah. The Nephilim, the because they came through the survivors came through the human bloodline, right? So it's pretty much only the pure bloods, right? The ones who we know them because they're the ones who are in charge of the world right now, and they
Mm.
won't marry outside of their bloodline because they want to keep their blood pure. Yeah, the rest of us, we're Well, I said there are 5 different types of beings here, and I guess the majority of people here are the humans, or the mixtures of all 5 or all 4 different beings with the most human blood in them. But those humans have Adam's ability because they're Adam essentially. But this society has kind of conspired to hide us or hide these abilities from us.
Yeah.
But you know what happens is we inadvertently use these abilities without knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we do, we say, "Oh, what a coincidence! Oh, that was lucky, wasn't it?"
Yeah.
You know, "Oh, how did that happen? That must be a synchronicity." Yeah.
Dave, when we first met a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, and I sat you down and I asked your opinion on Christ consciousness, and you was the first person to tell me, like, to be like, it's not for me. It's a new age, and for about a year or two, it triggered me because I was like, I don't understand this. I'm reading all these books about the oil, but now what you've just told me is, if anything, we need to get back to Adam consciousness, not Christ consciousness. That's the psyop. That's the new age bullshit, basically. And no one's talking about Adam. It seems very much like just a fairy tale of the Bible, but it's such a significant, major part of humanity's story.
Well, I wouldn't say we need to get back to Adam consciousness because we are Adam. That's the thing. We're already it. Yeah. We really have to get back to the most high consciousness. Yeah.
Okay.
Which again, we are it. You know, because I'll give you an example of this relationship. Okay. Think of a cell, a skin cell in the back of your hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one day, let's imagine one day that skin cell is sitting there and is going, well, okay, I need salt. There's no salt here. I've got to step back a second. That skin cell and every cell of your body is a conscious living being. Okay.
Yeah.
And it thinks it's you.
Yeah.
It's got your consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you take one cell out of your body and put it in a petri dish, it will live. And if you put bad stuff over here and good stuff over there, it will avoid the bad stuff and go look towards the good stuff. Yeah. It's a conscious living being. So one day that skin cell is like, okay, I need salt. If I don't get salt, I'm going to die. There's no salt around here. Where's the salt? Where's the salt? Where's the salt?
Yeah.
Eventually, that's going to percolate up to you. And you're going to go, I fancy anchovies tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that cell's going to go, oh, what a coincidence. I've been dying for some salt. And all of a sudden all this salt appeared. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that cell in your hand is indigo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't know about you, even though it is you, but it doesn't know about you. Yeah. It knows that it's part of something, but it doesn't know what that thing is. Right. So that's the relationship we have with the Most High.
Yeah.
Okay. And what essentially we're doing is we're actually learning we're learning everything there is to know about existence.
Yeah.
And the way I see it, we're going through the dimensions. We're going up the dimensions, right, to explore what that dimension represents and what we can do with that dimension. And I kind of think that there's a lesson in each dimension. There's a lesson to be learned.
Yeah.
And my view is that the lesson to be learned in this dimension is good and evil.
Can I ask, when it comes to Adam and then Eve, as we live in a very patriarchal world, you know, very masculine driven, does Eve, is the story of Eve just as powerful, or is he just like an extension of Adam, you know? How do we, or does Adam represent both male and female, like humanity?
Okay, there's a lot of new age stuff that's been, you know, thrown into this, you know, this whole idea of patriarchy, you know, they're mixing up, right, this reptilian-ish tendency of the Nephilim to want to conquer, control, dominate, kill, murder, steal, destroy. Yeah, that isn't human. That isn't a human trait. Okay.
So it's not the patriarchy. It's actually something different.
Yeah, it's something completely
behavior.
different.
I agree.
It's Nephilim.
Yeah.
It is actually uncomfortable for humans to do wrong. Yeah. If I was lying to you right now, right, my whole body would be going, I'm lying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, internally, there'll be all sorts of internal things like my blood pressure will go up. You know, I might start shaking, I might start sweating. Yeah. All these things that make it uncomfortable for me to lie. It's if you send somebody off, you know, a young man off to war and he kills somebody, a different man comes back. Yeah.
Wow.
A haunted man comes back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wrong, and it's hard for us to do wrong. But there are the Nephilim who find it easy to do all that without even showing any external appearances.
Emotion. Yeah. Well, if anything, like there's the sadists that actually revel in it.
Yes, there's psychopaths.
Yeah.
So literally what they call the patriarchy is the psychopathy.
Psychopathy. Okay. Well, this gives us a lot of hope for humanity, doesn't it? That actually it's not a natural tendency of humans to be so evil and nasty and to be cannibalistic and sadist. It's actually not part of our vibration. It's being enforced onto us.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, you only have to look around. We live in a totally inhuman society.
Yeah.
A society not designed for us to thrive in.
Yeah.
It's competition based, where we are collaborative.
Yeah.
You know, we get on and do things when we collaborate with others and push out ourselves forward.
Yeah.
Right? We're in a society that is competition based. We're at each other's throats. We're all fighting for the limited resources that we're allowed to have.
Yeah.
And we're all in competition with each other. Yeah. So it's dog eat dog. You know, that's not natural for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So this society has been designed to, it's to dishearten us, to make us commit suicide, to get us to fight each other, so that we can be exterminated, essentially. Yeah. So the patriarchy, no, it's the psychopathy, it's the Nephilim, the mindset, essentially.
Yeah.
We intuitively know, right, the relationship between men and women. It's a equal and opposite. It's complementary
and symbiotic.
Right? Yes. Now in Paleo Hebrew, it literally, because this is such an expressive language, it tells you the names for mother and father, for instance, tell you the roles that we have. Okay. So the word for father in Paleo Hebrew is Abba. Okay. So the letter A, right, is again, all Paleo Hebrew words have about 8 different meanings. Okay. So the letter A is strength, power, leadership, guidance, first, teacher. Yeah.
Wow.
The letter B is like the floor plan of a tent. It means house, home, family, bloodline, within, inside. Yeah. So father is strength, power, leadership, guidance, teacher of the house, home, family, bloodline.
Wow.
That's a role.
Wow.
Okay.
That's so much more than the word father in English, isn't it?
Exactly.
Whoa.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, mother, you have to think slightly different. It's the same way of thinking, but you have to think slightly different here. Mother is Amma. Okay.
Amma.
And the word, simplified is strong water. Yeah. Now, strong water in Paleo Hebrew is glue. Strong water. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the glue that binds a family together. Right. So you've got strength, power, leadership, direction, teacher, yeah, which is a line. And you've got a circle, which is binding everything together. Right. So you need both of them for a family. If you've only got direction, leadership, you get you get like a family just goes off in a direction. Yeah, right. If you don't have the mother, right?
Yeah.
If you only have a mother, the family doesn't progress anywhere. They just, stay still. Okay, they're protected, but they stay still.
Yeah.
So you need both in order to form a spiral. So
And the way you've explained them both are so profound, respect-worthy, equal but different as well.
equal but complementary.
But complementary. Yeah, yeah. You can't have one without the other.
You need both to have stability.
Yeah.
There's more to it because there's in the word husband and wife, right? In the middle of that is the word for the Most High. So it basically says you have to have the Most High in between, in that marriage. Otherwise, if you take the word for Most High out, you're left with the word fire.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyway, but what I'm saying is it's not a patriarchy when you remove all the Nephilim stuff and take it right back to basics. You get a man and woman who are complementary. They fit together like the yin and yang symbol.
Yeah.
They fit together and they make a whole.
So like a lot of people say we should go back to like African cultures or where the matriarchy is in control. But if anything, it's sounding like it's just the symbiotic relationship of man and woman.
Yes, because
Boy and girl.
if you make it the matriarchy, then because right now, obviously the Nephilim is a male dominated and the worst aspects of male, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sort of tipped over to one side. But if you go sort of the matriarchy, it just tips over to the other side, and you get a whole different set of problems.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, you need the symbiotic connection of the two, and I fell in love with this woman on a train years ago,
Yeah.
and we are in this. I feel it for the first time. I feel this symbiotic, connection with her that when we're together, we just fit together, and everything just flows. Right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Just flows naturally, and it's authentic and organic, and there's no forcing of anything, I can imagine.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing we're missing, because the thing about relationships today, they've been intentionally destroyed because
on purpose. Yeah,
definitely, because they want to destroy the family. So best way to do that is get in between the man and the woman and destroy it at source. So men don't know how to relate to women don't know how to relate to men anymore.
Yeah.
And there's all these things in our in our heads, like for women they've got this whole checklist of things that men have to actually meet before they even get through the door.
It better be no anger, otherwise it's apparently you're just a toxic person, and it's very better to be around women.
Better be 6 foot. Better have a six pack. Better have £200,000 paying job. Better have a Ferrari on the drive.
I was watching a documentary last week, and it said that apparently only 12% of men on the planet are actually over 6 foot tall. And it was this whole ideology created by the deep state or whatever to basically just like marginalize all men and only make a very small amount of men desirable for women. I mean, it works for me. I'm over 6 foot, but there's no difference between me and a 5'5" man, other than I might be able to reach something at the top of the shelf. But the fact that I'm now seen as more desirable and stuff just because of my height, and you realize that's something that's been put onto us. It's not an organic thing.
Yeah. And then there's this whole standard of beauty thing that, these trends get created, and then all of a sudden these women just rush off and just explode this thing. Like, what was it? Brazilian butt lifts. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I did a video on this. It comes from a slave called Sarah Bartman, who was, they embalmed her body, and she had a massive, massive bum, and all the Europeans were staring at it. And then, like Nicki Minaj, who's a famous artist, she'll talk about this big bum thing. Next thing, everyone has it. Or what about the rise of white women with black lips? It's insane the amount of what we consider. I was a model for 10 years, and now I can't even imagine saying to someone I'm a model, because beauty is what's the word? It's in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah, yeah.
you know. And
You know, most men don't even like makeup on women, you know,
I don't,
and
for sure.
yeah, it's like, you know, you don't need the makeup, you know, drop it, but they can't let it go, and
Yeah,
the makeup gets more and more and more ridiculous.
yeah.
Like, you know, women with great big comedy eyebrows, and again, the big lips,
Comedy
and
eyebrows.
yeah, you know, it's just and you know, it
Yeah.
just, and we don't want any of it. We don't care about any of it, you know. But so they've gone off on this tangent, thinking that we want all this stuff, but really they're just, it's like they're impressing other women.
And it sounds like, they're doing everything for the male gaze. But from what we've just spoke about, I would have said up until now the male gaze was the patriarchy, but actually it's the Nephilim's gaze, really. It's like, it's not even the male, because real, true, integrated, divine, sovereign men would not want you to put a whole load of makeup on your face just to feel comfortable around me.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's, you know, it's all skewed, and
Mm,
it's not our fault. It's not really our, well, kind of our fault, because we've all sort of bought into it, and you know, it was very slowly inculcated into us with the media, TV, films, and all that.
yeah,
You know, teaching us how to be humans,
yeah,
when, you know, we already know, but we get taught by television.
yeah.
You know, every one of us has been corrupted. We've all got heads full of EastEnders, or, you know, all these films and stuff, right? And do we really know how to be people, ordinary people, anymore?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that, Dave, is what we're hopefully going to be taking people on the journey on November the 16th in London. It's going to be about a 5 hour talk from about 11 till 4, I believe. So is it going to be, you're going to have a big slideshow, I'm guessing, ready for us?
Yeah, yeah. Now, it might sound daunting, you know, 5 hours, but I do talks between 2.5 hours, and I've got a talk that's 8 hours long, and people balk at the idea of such a long talk, but at the end of it, they're like, "Oh, what?
Yeah.
Is that time already? We finished already?"
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, it's like this, it's gone quickly, and when you're in the, and so if you can come down and see us, guys, if anyone's watching this, to be physically there as well, it's such a special experience because, like even just in this conversation, I really want to just log into this Adam energy, remove this psyop of this Christ story, which I keep playing in my head, and start that journey of learning,
yeah, I used to be an atheist. I was an
Mm,
atheist for 40 years. And then I read the Bible 3 times through, you know, cover to cover, and realized that the Old Testament is real, the New Testament is fake. But so I decided to research the Old Testament,
mm.
and I was shocked to find it's a story that I could follow and understand. And when I look around the world, I can see that story playing out because it hasn't finished yet.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm, you know, right now I can point to where we are in the book, um, not because it's got dates in it that I can go, oh yeah, so it's like 2025. No, it's got markers, it's got events that you can point to and go, that event was spoken about, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So literally, it's really exciting, because it's a really exciting story, and I literally think that we're coming to the end of it now, of the story, and right now we're waiting to see some pretty extraordinary events that are
Well, I'm
taking
pretty
place.
convinced that the time that we're in right now is incredible. It's full of synchronicities. This is a very, very powerful time, and hence why it seems so doom and gloom, because it's the Nephilim trying to stop us from really feeling the subtleness of this frequency that we have the opportunity to step into, you
Yeah,
know, and so they're distracting us and everything that we know that they're doing, so that we don't recognize the time that we're currently in, and so that we don't take advantage of that time.
right. And you know what, that phrase, it's always darkest before the dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, as I said, we're at the bottom of the circle now, and just starting to climb out of it.
Yeah,
It's going to get darker, right? But then, as you know, suddenly it's going to break through, and into the dawn,
yeah.
and we'll be on that climb back up to Eden. Yeah,
And
so
when you're armed with the knowledge that it's going to get darker first, that the water's got to get muddier first, so that we can alchemize it and address it and look at it and all of these things, then you can be in a very kind of grounded position as it gets worse, because you're not just always reacting, you know, and like subconsciously just losing all of your energy. You know exactly what's happening, and you can actually sense the divinity in the pain, knowing it's happening. Would you say, as someone who's you know, it sounds like the Old Testament is one of the most powerful books, you know, in your life for you. And would you call yourself a man of faith, or are you reading it from a kind of objective perspective?
well, when I first read it, I I was looking at it objectively, because at first I didn't see myself in it,
Mm.
but then realizing that actually it's about me, and it's about you, and it's about, you know, so I saw myself in it. I saw, you know, I saw what my path is, you know, according to that book.
Yeah,
And so um, when I realized that the Most High is real, and then realized that this book gives us instructions on how to live,
yeah,
what we're supposed to do down here, I think, you know, I thought, you know what, I'd better do what this this creator says we're supposed to do, because, you know, that's what we're here for,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it did change my life. I wouldn't say I'm a man of faith. I'm a man who knows who he is and knows that the Most High exists,
Wow.
but I'm not religious in any way.
I really, really want to get this story message out to people from the diaspora, African Caribbean people as well. We have been bastardized. We have the Bible has been weaponized against us with this European Roman Jesus character. And respectfully, for anyone watching this, you know, a lot of people have been bamboozled by the Bible, but you know, black people specifically, you know, it's like they hate slavery, but they took that Bible with them still, and they love that part of it. And it's to be able to read it from an elevated perspective, because that's all we're asking, not to discard it, but to read it from different, like from a different viewpoint, could be so powerful.
Can I ask why you'd like to get this to the you know, black community?
Respectfully, I would say it's because they're the most traumatized. They've got the most victim consciousness, and it's like, yo, you need to read this Bible and you need to meet Dave, man. You need to just like have a different perspective, because so much victim consciousness, and there's so much infighting in the diaspora as well, that it's like, if only you could read this book from a different perspective, maybe we could start to heal the nation, man. You know?
Well, can I tell you why you're absolutely right?
Yeah, please.
Because the book is our book. It's about us,
Wow.
literally about us. There's a book that was taken out of it, or a set of books called The Testimony of the Patriarchs. So there's the testimony of Judah, right? So Judah was prophesied to be scattered throughout the entire world.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And literally that's us. Yeah. If you're from the Caribbean, if you ended up in, you know, your family ended up in slavery in the Americas, you know, if you were under colonization in West Africa,
Yeah.
yeah, you're that nation.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So literally the book is our history, even though we were told we don't have a history.
Yeah.
We were told our history starts with slavery. No, that book is our history.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I've been able to prove it, right? And this is quite amazing, because Adolf Hitler helped actually.
Yeah.
He had a book commissioned, right, in 1939, I think it was, where he followed a family from King David. Right, he followed the bloodline, where one particular family from the line of David went through, as they went through Europe, right? And so he got it down to a family called it's spelled Don Jashia family, right?
Yeah.
Now there was no J, so it's not Jashia. It would be
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
J,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The CH Like there was no ch, no ch sound in Paleo Hebrew. It was a ch sound,
Hmm.
right? So Don Jashia would be Don Yahya
Wow.
or Yahya,
Yeah.
yeah, as it was anglicized, Yahya.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this guy, he was known as an exilarch. So he was royalty in exile, right,
Yeah.
in Spain and Portugal. Okay, and he became a famous man in Portugal, and he took on the name Negro. That's why we're called Negroes today, because it's a surname.
Wow.
It's our surname.
Wow.
Yeah. So this descendant of King David in Portugal, again, he became a famous man, right? A rich, famous man in Portugal. But then the Inquisitions happened, right? And they were forced out first to Spain,
Yeah.
and then they were transported to Angola or Africa, different
Yeah.
parts of Africa,
Yeah.
right? And then they were transported from Africa. Again, this one group of people, they were taken from Africa to America. Now, I was able to find in the slave voyages database, when you look in there, you'll find all over the place Yahya, Yahya, the name, because it
Wow.
had all the names of the slaves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can follow using this book from Adolf Hitler. It traces all the way from David down to Don Yahya, yeah, and then you can follow Yahya's from Africa being taken over to into slavery. Okay, so when I said you can point at the book and show you where we are today, the Old Testament says that in the last days, the Israelites will come out of 400 years of slavery and affliction, right? 400 years of, doesn't say 400 years of slavery, it said 400 years of slavery and
And
affliction.
mm,
So there's only one people who went en masse into slavery, maybe 250 years of slavery, and then the next, 150 years or so of affliction,
yeah.
Jim Crow laws, and
Yeah. Yeah.
being shot by police, and whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
only one people, and that slavery ended August 21st, 2019.
Mm. Is that when
Right?
they finally paid their last kind of payments or whatever it was?
Well, no, it's like that 400 years started August 21st, 1619.
Oh, you're literally meaning the 400-year period ended just before the pandemic.
Exactly. So think if you look back on after August 21st, not more than the pandemic happened, half of America was on fire, the other half was underwater.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm, mm.
So California was on fire, but the Midwest was underwater,
Yeah.
right? There was locusts appeared all over the world in places they've never seen them before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rivers turned red. All sorts of weird things happened, and then 5 or 6 months later, lockdown. The whole world locked down,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So the next line in Genesis, after it says about going into slavery for 400 years, it says, that nation, the nation that put them into slavery, that nation shall I judge. And afterwards, they're going to leave those places with great substance. So right now, we're in the judgment of the nations
Wow. Yeah.
and the run up to us leaving these places. And if you look at the news stories, coming out of America, actually even coming out of the Caribbean, and from Africa, you're seeing this start movement, that this idea that we're going to be leaving these places.
Yeah.
Yeah, in America, Trump got rid of this idea that if you're born in America, you're automatically a citizen.
American. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and now they've got ICE there, deporting people. Right, first, ostensibly the Hispanic and other immigrants, but it will soon be turned. The gaze will be turned onto black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we're seeing in Jamaica, where they've just basically turned a storm into Jamaica to clear it. Right. I also think there'll be because the Caribbean are volcanic. I believe there'll be some.
Okay.
We're going to see some volcanic action, and then people having to leave.
This kind of Armageddon prophesized future we're moving into, though, what's interesting and I find difficult is some of it feels organic, some of it feels like it's being curated by the Nephilim.
Yeah, as far as the Most High is concerned, it doesn't matter how it happens.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
This is what's going to happen.
Okay.
So whether they do it or it happens naturally, it's going to happen.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I think I was mentioned. Did I mention this before? Maybe not. So I was looking at a book. There's one book that was taken out of the Old Testament called the Book of Jubilees, and that gives you a timeline to what's happening in the book of Genesis. So it marks time in jubilees, not just years. It's years, weeks of years, and jubilees, right? So a week of years is 7 years, okay? And 7 times 7, right, is 49. The next year is a jubilee year. So every 50 years is a jubilee year.
Okay.
So on a jubilee, all debts are forgiven. All property gets returned to its original owner. Everything is reset.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the Israelites entered into their land, it turns out, on the 50th Jubilee. Right. So this is the only time they could have entered the land because all land gets returned to its original owner. Yeah. Now, there's a line in Genesis that always niggled me. It was, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for his years shall be 120 years. Maybe it's talking about 120 jubilees, since it talks about jubilees.
Yes, yeah.
So 120 jubilees is 6,000 years. So 6,000 years of strife and 1,000 years of rest and relaxation.
Wow.
So I was trying to figure out, by looking at jubilees and comparing it with historical references, I was trying to find out when are the jubilees today. And unfortunately, I couldn't link the two.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, hang on a minute. The cabal that we're up against, they know exactly when what time it is. They know when the jubilees are and everything. And knowing their personality, they like to rub our noses in the truth, knowing that we don't know what it means. Yeah. So what came to me was, you're probably too young for this, but 1977, right? Was the Silver Jubilee.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So the Queen's Silver Jubilee, essentially it was a massive hoo-ha. It was, everyone had like days off, and there were street parties everywhere. Everyone was buying flags and mugs and all this stuff. It was a massive deal. But then there was the Golden Jubilee, and there was no hoo-ha, no effort, nothing. And then there was the Platinum Jubilee.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay. But the Silver Jubilee, everything went crazy. So what if the Silver Jubilee was the penultimate Jubilee, the 119th Jubilee, yeah? 50 years on from 1977 is 2027. And this is around the season, right?
Yeah.
So my thoughts is, because at the end of the age, so the end of the 6,000 years, is the end of the Nephilim's reign, and then Jacob's reign. So Esau's reign ends, and then Jacob's takes over. Wow. Now again, Jacob isn't like the Nephilim. Adam isn't like the Nephilim.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about Jacob's rule, it isn't domination, war, conquest, that sort of thing. It's stewardship of the earth.
Yeah.
It is leadership of the earth, because we're supposed to be the most highest priesthood on earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and as it happens, we're still leading the earth from behind.
Wow. Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah. We have always been the leaders of this earth, right? But now we're in subjection. We're still leading the earth, because all fashion starts with us. All music starts with us. All
Creativity.
friends start with us. If
Yeah.
we do something, the whole world follows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still leading the earth, even though we're in captivity and we're in subjection, we're still leading the earth. But when this bloodline is no more, then we'll take,
Then we can
take
step
our
out of the
place.
shadows, and like it's like once the bloodline leaves, we step out of the shadows and reclaim our throne, kind of, you know.
It's not quite stepping out the shadows. It's actually rising and taking a rightful place. It actually says in the Apocrypha, again, book they took out of the Old Testament. It says how people are going to be surprised. They're going to say, "What? It's him? These guys? They're the children of the Most High. We thought they were nothing."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they're the ones,
Mm-mm.
you know. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what the Most High says is going to happen. They're just going to be so surprised that it's us. But it's inevitable. The Most High has spoken it.
And it's interesting that 2027, this 6,000 years, the end of the Jubilee or the start, it's right before Agenda 30, and everything that they're doing, and it's very clear that, yeah, like you said, they're very aware of exactly where we're at, and so they're trying to do everything they can to maybe counter it. I have one more question for you, if I can, before we end this. The idea of like one person maybe being more divine or righteous, and the idea, and I'm referring to the Emperor of Ethiopia, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. Um, I, up until this point, always felt like if there was going to be a Christ returning, it already happened. He was a thief in the night. He came through the Solomonic dynasty and Queen Sheba lineage. I just wonder if you have any thoughts on him being anything special from the perspective of the Old Testament.
Now, I guess the story is that when Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, they had a child. And when Sheba went back to Cush, I believe, was it? I can't remember how many, but there was a contingent from every tribe went with him and went into Ethiopia. So I don't, I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt that he could be of that bloodline. There are pictures of the Queen and Prince Philip
Bowing
kneeling
to him, yeah.
and bowing to him.
Yeah.
But so I don't doubt he might be of the lineage, but he's not an anointed one. So King David was an anointed one. King Solomon was an anointed one. I guess we're waiting. The book basically says that the next anointed one will be David himself. He'll come back. Right? So I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't class Haile Selassie as King of Kings and that, because there's nothing in the book to support that.
Wow, incredible. And I guess we're all just making our way back home, in our own way now.
Yeah.
Marcus Garvey, he created the Black Star Line. He tried to take people back to Liberia. In our own way, we're taking people out of the matrix, and into a whole new paradigm,
Well, here's the thing, though, that the Most High said, no man will save you. He said, we're going to go into that 400 years, but no man will save you. And I think I mentioned to Alex, actually, when I was looking at the eclipses, because there were two eclipses that went across America. I made an X that's warning the end of America. And I went through looking at all the other eclipses. There were loads of eclipses out throughout the years.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, are there any other significant ones? And a synchronicity happened. as I'm looking down the list of eclipses, I found one that happened on my birthday.
Wow.
So I looked at that, and it happened to be in 1831 on my birthday. There was an eclipse, and that was a few months before the Nat Turner slave rebellion. Okay, and that eclipse went over the spot that Nat Turner started the rebellion, and it followed the path of the rebellion. Okay, and it went to a place called Jerusalem.
Wow.
Okay, now Nat Turner followed that path on August 21st. Yeah, he followed that path, but he was heading towards an armory to get more weapons in Jerusalem, but he never made it to Jerusalem. Right, he got captured and killed. But that was, again, no man shall save you.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was trying to get to Jerusalem, but he never made it.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. It makes you realize as well how profound our missions are, maybe, when you start to look at these things and you realize actually who I really am. And I'm maybe part of this spiritual lineage to like bring people back.
Right. But you know, there are two special lineages. As I said, there's Adam's lineage, yeah. So that's represented by the Israelites, okay,
Yeah.
because their blood has been again purified back to Adam's. And then you've got the fallen angel, but then you've got all these other lineages around, right? That some are more aligned towards the Nephilim, and others are more aligned towards Jacob, right?
Yeah.
But in those lineages, essentially, you've got to make a choice, right? You can either take the wicked path and throw in with Esau, or you take the righteous path, and you know, essentially, you're going to get scored at the end. But worst of all is our people.
Yeah.
We're going to be dealt with even more harshly if we take the wicked path, right? Even though that we've got the rules and regulations written right in our hearts here, yeah. If we take the wicked path, we're going to be dealt with just as harshly as the Edomites will.
Wow. Well, it sounds like this is like decision time. What path do you want to be on? You know, do you have the courage to discover who you really are, to unattach from all of the conditioning and propaganda, and you know, find the grace of these teachings?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of what I'm talking about isn't what the talk is about.
Well, let's talk about that quickly while we're here then, just to round this up. So let me just have a look. So it's called Adam's Journey, the end in the beginning. That's a bit of a tongue twister right there. The end in the beginning.
Yep.
It's around Marylebone Road, Baker Street. So it's going to be in London, November the 16th, which is a Sunday, 11 till 4 p.m. And we're selling the tickets now. So it will be under this video. It'll be on my social media. All of the links will be very easily found for anyone watching this. But you have about a week left. And if you can't physically join us, we also have streaming tickets so people can watch online, you know, across the world. And you don't want to miss out on this, guys, because even in this 1 hour conversation, there's so many things that I've carried for years that have just suddenly you've shifted. Just, if I'm honest, through common sense,
Right.
you know, which is what we need more of in this space. There's a lot of, we've just been forced these ideologies and we haven't really processed common sense a lot. So just thank you for taking the time today for speaking about this with me. I look forward to seeing you live as well on the day. Any final words? Anything you want to share?
Well, there is going to be a special event happening within the talk. I'm not going to say very much more about it, but it's something unique that's going to be happening during this talk and only in this talk.
Yes, yeah. Something's going to be happening, which, like you said, only at this talk, never again will it be repeated. And so if you can physically be there, then you're going to be, you know, making history with us and with Dave. So yeah, that being said, I love you, brother, and thank you for your work. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your life. Thank you for trusting the Most High more than trusting your own ego, you know, and doing the work that you need to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, King.
See you soon.
See you Sunday, Lion. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.